Hey, so you don't have a book idea. Oh, I like this one. So, here's Pepper. See, this for me, this is kind of even more fun and more challenging because I don't want to sound like some omniscient narrator, person who knows everything. But, I mean, just a quick answer, you do have a book in you. Because what is a book? A book is a story, and we all have stories. But then you think, oh, well, who wants to hear my story? Or who cares about my story? I mean, then you get into who who wants to read my story, or who's going to pay to read my story, or how am I going to make $1 million selling this story? And okay, I get all that. But you do have a story, so let's just get over that one first. And it's more that it's just buried under stuff. And it might be buried under your day-to-day life, and it's something that you'd like to bring out, but maybe you just haven't had a quiet moment to let sprout, let spark, dare I say, like embers in an old campfire that are going to reignite. So if you just go with me for a sec, that you do have a story, it's just buried in there somewhere, and it's maybe stuck or glued or buried in the junk. Okay, great. If you go with that, so how are we going to open it up? How are we going to uncover it or discover it? Well, there's a lot of ways. There's some techniques, some simple techniques. One of them is just start writing. Of course, I'm a writer. That's often how I get started. But lately, I've been doing a lot more audio, a lot more video. You could even start recording. And I don't care if you have 4 minutes of silence. Take a walk and have your phone and your headphones in with a microphone, and just start recording. And I don't care if you start blabbing. Same way with writing, by the way. You could start writing and say, "I don't have a story in me. I don't have a story in me. I don't have a story in me." And that's going to get what's going to happen is you're going to dull your mind. Your mind's going to be so bored and that it's going to find something else to talk about. And usually, what comes up when you're boring yourself to death like that is something that's on your mind. And what's on your mind is potentially a book. So if that still doesn't work, or you think, that's not the right thing, then just continue with, "I don't have a story in me. I don't have a story in me. I don't have a story in me," and write it 50 times. I don't write. That hurts my hand. I'd rather write something else. So I guess if you're typing, it's a little easier. And see where it takes you. If that sounds too strenuous, then you could do the audio, you could do the video, like I'm doing now. I could sit here and talk until I blab my way into a story, but I have a topic, and my topic is you have a story in you. That's easy. Another one is to talk about it with people or to see what you talk about. So if you're talking with someone, maybe there's a lull in the conversation, there's absolutely like an avenue, an open door for you to bring up a new topic with this table of friends or something that is quiet, and it's just clearly sort of your turn to say something, or you're allowed to say something. What would you talk about? What would be the conversation that you would want to start? What's a thing that is sort of you're sort of passionate about, or you have a strong opinion about, that you'd want to talk about for more than a page or a minute? Or easier is, let's think sort of in the work life, would be, what's your email box full of? What are they thankful for that you give them? Do you give them help? Do you give them advice? What's it about? What do you know that they don't know? Here's a really good one, and this is speaking of sales, if something comes very easily to you, and yet others often say, "Wow, that's so difficult for me," or "Wow, how is that so easy for you? That's really difficult for me." That's always a good one, because then you also have an audience. Speaking of audiences, what is it that maybe you talk about, or you write about, or experience that people are interested in, and they often ask you about? Maybe you're really good at something. Maybe you do something that is kind of unique and other people don't do, or other people think is interesting or strange or crazy, or and why do you do it? And why don't they? And just to follow up on that point, what if you did something that they don't do, but they would like to do, but they don't? And they're blocked, they're stuck, they're take your pick of gazillion reasons why people don't do things, even though it's good for them and it's good for them and you can prove it's good for them and all that. Why don't they do it? And then if you want to double down on this path, then if you can give them clear steps on how to do the thing that you know how to do, that they don't know how to do, meaning that, now we're talking how-to book, self-help book, personal development book, how to do this thing book. If we're talking fiction, for me, it's often either a story. It usually starts really small with like just a scene. And one trick, it's one of my favorite fiction trips, kind of a trip, is you think you're starting in, chapter one, page one. So go ahead, do that, write it out. But then you're at chapter 3, 4, 7, and then you're like, boom, here's where the action starts. Start your story there. Because if that's where it's really exciting, it's exciting for you, and it's exciting for the reader. So you think you got your story, uh, get out that junk first, sort of clean up the garbage, and then get to the heart of the action. And you can always tell that backstory a little later. So use that thing that is maybe what you thought was the turning point in the middle of the story, and you can use that at the beginning. I mean, it doesn't always work, depends. But you don't have a story in you. So just I write every day, so I I have to have a story in me every day. I do believe there is inspiration in perspiration, meaning you act and you will find inspiration and motivation through that acting. So I do believe that you can work it, and just like a muscle or a talent or a practice, you'll get better. And so if you just like that's another reason I want to start the course a week early, get you a little bit in the rhythm of writing if you don't write on a regular basis, to get doing that, get rolling on that. And so if you take just a few days of writing and just blab, just blab for a few days and see what comes out and see what wants to come out. Just let it come out. I mean, for me, it's often, especially with my fiction, I just sit there, especially early in the morning. I just sit there and I sort of type, and it just, I don't know another word for it. It sort of downloads to me, and I am figuring out what's going on as it's going on. I don't know what's going to happen next. I got to sort of type it to see what happens. That for me, that's a high. That's fun. So if you got that, if you know what you're going to talk about, then we're all set. Then just do it. But for now, there is something in there, and we just got to uncover it or discover it. Talking with others helps. I think I mentioned that. And sort of, when you people, a doctor will say, just let me know when it doesn't feel right or when it feels right. Doctor usually says, let me know when it doesn't feel right. But think of the other way around. When does it feel right? When does it feel like you're having this conversation or a discussion or even sort of a monologuish thing? Even it could even be thoughts in your head if you're driving in traffic. And what is flowing for you? What is the one where you have this idea and the other ideas are just like firing in there like a rocket ship? And go with that one. So that's sort of a natural feeling one. By the way, I do think it's much more gut. There's like gut, heart, mind. I talk about this a lot. Um, and I think it's much more gut and heart where this has got to come from. Because if you come from the mind decision of I think I should really write a book about this. I should write about WordPress themes and development because I know that stuff. But I'm going to murder myself before I write that book. So That's not going to work clearly, right? That was a mind decision in my heart and my gut, like, no, don't do it. So listen to these guys, listen to your heart, listen to your gut, see what they say. Your mind will fall in line. It's 2 against 1 anyway, and go with it. All right? It's in there. Just got to discover it. It's like here. See? Under here. There's leaves on the top. Got to be something good in here. Just got to dig a little bit. Pepper's going to find it. All right. That's it for now.